Luigi's Mansion is known as the game where Luigi finally got his own personality. Instead of just being Mario's green brother, this game let Luigi step out of Mario's shadow and finally made him the main character for once. Or is he? Because while it seems this game is about Luigi facing his fears to rescue his brother, it feels as if someone else actually takes away his spotlight ever so subtly. Someone who is constantly around but acts inconspicuously, adding to an ominous feeling you experience that you won't get from any other Mario game. A feeling that wherever you go, someone is always watching you. And that strange, uneasy feeling grasps you the moment you step foot inside the mansion.
Mario?
Most Mario games are very comforting. The worlds are always wide open and full of adventure. You can run, jump, flip, slide, and to defeat an enemy, all you need to do is just stomp on their head. The danger feels fun, almost playful, and if you fail, it barely matters. You just use one of the many 1-ups you've collected and try again. Add to that the fact that Mario himself is the definition of positivity and confidence, and it always feels like you are in control. It's a tried and tested formula that has been a staple of Mario games and countless other Nintendo franchises for decades. Luigi's Mansion, however, is unlike any Mario game that came before it. It seems like none of the rules those games follow apply here. The vast open levels make room for something much smaller or even claustrophobic. A ghost-filled haunted mansion that can oftentimes feel less like a level and more like a trap. Luigi isn't a confident hero like his brother. He trembles once he enters a dark room, he hums along to the mansion's tune just to break the silence, and he can't just power through like his brother can. Running and jumping, which are quite literally the foundation of the Mario Bros. Franchise, are not even part of Luigi's moveset, meaning defeating enemies isn't nearly as simple as just stomping on them. Instead, the way you subdue ghosts is by using a flashlight and vacuum cleaner. It emphasizes Luigi's vulnerability because his weapons are regular household items instead of fire flowers or power stars. That in turn makes the danger feel a lot more real compared to most Mario games, especially because Luigi's fear is directly tied to his health. The lower his HP gets, the more terrified he sounds. All these differences make one thing very clear. This game doesn't want to make you feel like a hero. It wants you to feel vulnerable. It's almost as if it's telling you directly, you're not Mario. You're not the hero of this story. You are just trying to survive. The enemies you face are also very different from your typical Mario enemies. Whereas in most Mario games, enemies like Goombas, Koopas, and Piranha Plants are faceless and only exist to be defeated, the portrait ghosts in Luigi's Mansion all have their own backstory. Once you've captured them, you can read a small bio about their lives and afterlives. But you don't even need to read their backstory to understand who they were, because the rooms they haunt already tell their story through visuals. The gluttonous Mr. Luggs, who ate himself to death, now spends eternity trapped in a never-ending feast. Sue P, a 7-year-old girl that died in her sleep, floats endlessly in an upside-down bedroom. And Biff Atlas, the bodybuilder, still lifts weights in the mansion's gym, forever chasing strength he no longer needs. Their locations within the mansion define who they are. Each room acts as a piece of environmental storytelling, a glimpse into the life, or well, afterlife of its inhabitant. What's more is that they don't even feel like enemies. They're just minding their business and only become hostile once you disturb them. But there is one ghost that doesn't fit this pattern. And that is Bogmire. Unlike the ghost inside the mansion, Bogmire doesn't belong anywhere. He has no room, no possessions, no clear identity. You find him outside in a cold and foggy graveyard, completely isolated from the other ghosts. And when you first see him, it immediately becomes clear. Bogmire isn't human. Its bio even reads, a product of the mansion's fear and despair. Bogmire isn't the ghost of a person, but the ghost of the mansion itself, a physical manifestation of its darkness. So if Bogmire is the mansion, does that mean the mansion is alive? We know from the game's lore that the mansion itself wasn't a real building at all. It was created by King Boo as a magical illusion, a trap meant to lure Mario and Luigi inside. The ghosts that inhabit it didn't live there when they were alive. They were once captured by Professor e.gadd and sealed away in paintings, until King Boo released them and gave each of them their own room within the mansion's walls. So at first the mansion was just a construct, a stage built for one single purpose, to trap Mario and Luigi. But over time, something changed. The grief, fear, and despair of the ghosts began to seep into the illusion itself, as if the emotions of its inhabitants were absorbed by the walls. Piece by piece, the mansion started to develop a conscience of its own, and then it realized something terrifying. If Luigi defeated King Boo, its creator, the illusion would vanish, and the mansion would die. And from this moment on, the mansion stopped just being a setting and became your enemy. If you look at the game through this lens, suddenly everything starts to fall into place. The layout feels like a maze with no end, as if the mansion knows that as long as Luigi doesn't find King Boo, it still has a chance to survive. It forces Luigi to backtrack, creates fake doors that hurt Luigi if he tries to open them, and even taunts him by showing that his brother is in the basement halfway through the game, but then sending him to clear the top floors of the mansion first. It tries to break Luigi's spirit in hopes of him leaving so the mansion gets to live. But it doesn't just try to deceive Luigi, it actively tries to kill him. Whenever Luigi faces off against ghosts in a room, the mansion locks its doors, leaving Luigi with only the option to fight. And the most obvious sign of the mansion defending itself is the moment the lightning strikes. Right before you enter Area 4, lightning suddenly hits the mansion, shutting down the power and allowing ghosts to once again take over all the areas you've previously cleared. Now, this might just seem like a coincidence, but I am convinced that this lightning strike was deliberate. We concluded that Bogmire is the mansion, and in his boss fight, one of his moves is summoning shadow versions of himself using lightning bolts. And once the lightning hits the mansion, everything turns dark, effectively turning it into a shadow version of itself. But that's not all, because once you enter the telephone room to answer a call from Professor e.gadd during the blackout, lightning flashes again, and the mansion's intentions become clear. There, on the wall, is Luigi's shadow seemingly hanging from the ceiling. The mansion wants Luigi dead, so it gets to live. Now, whether that's just a visual bug or not, it certainly fits this narrative perfectly. If that's still not proof enough for you that the mansion is alive though, there is one final detail inside the mansion that should convince you. Strolling through the halls, you may notice something hanging on the wall. It's a painting, the same kind of painting that the ghosts you capture end up in. On it, you can see a silhouette of the mansion, and in the center, two glowing spots lighting up in the darkness. Two beady eyes staring right back at you. The mansion is presented like any other ghost portrait, as if it were a being of its own. It's like the house declaring, "I am alive." And this is what sets the first Luigi's Mansion game apart from its sequels. I've always had a love for the original's tone and atmosphere, but now that I've analyzed it in this way, I finally truly understand why this first game feels so much better. Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3 are both amazing games in their own right, with grand level design and fantastic puzzles, but that's just what they are. Levels and puzzles designed for the player to overcome. The mansion in the first game, however, doesn't feel anything like that. It feels like it's a living, breathing creature, one that doesn't want to be explored and does anything it can to stop you from completing your objective. But the weird thing is that even though it wants you to fail, the house can actually start to feel like home. Once you've cleared its rooms and hallways of ghosts, they light up, and the layout of the mansion starts to get more familiar. It's almost as if you're getting to know the house on a personal level, not just exploring it, but connecting with it in a strange, unspoken way. Which makes the end of the game rather bittersweet, because once you complete it, an image is shown of the mansion with its two once shining eyes completely darkened. And it makes you wonder if you've really defeated evil, or if you've simply killed something that just wanted to live. Luigi's Mansion was never really about Luigi overcoming his fear. It's a story of a living house desperately fighting for its own survival.